And if anybody is uncomfortable with that, then let us know afterwards as well, and we'll just make sure that your face doesn't appear on any replay of this. We've just been joined by Tara. Hi, Tara.
Hello.
So Tara joins us from Content Agency London. If you have a look at Tara's website and the company's website, there's some great stuff that they've been doing with some brands that will be familiar to everybody. Some that will be familiar to a fewer number of us probably, but some really good brands that they work with in various different ways. So the format of the day is, as previous sessions, we'll just have 15 minutes where we'll ask Tara to chat around social media marketing. And then we'll have some questions, and then before we finish, just ask Tara just to summarize the 5 key points that you'd like to leave with us today. Okay, so without further ado, Tara, I'll pass over to you.
Great, thank you so much. My internet's having a bit of a moment today, so if I cut out, please do tell me and I'll try and figure it out. But yeah, anyway, hopefully we'll be okay today. So hi, I'm Tara, co-founder of Content Agency London. We founded, myself and my business partner Sarah founded our agency 2.5 years ago. We do everything from research to social media strategy to then deployment across most of the social media platforms. We focus mostly on Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, and we're starting to move into TikTok a little bit. So that's what we do. It came about when we were working very closely with brands to produce content, high quality content quite frequently, which led to really good sales for them. So we took that idea and we decided to form a company off the back of that. And it has evolved greatly since then. We do a lot more than that now. And it's been a great journey, really. So today I've made some notes on building your own personal brand on social media. That's where I thought I'd go with this. I hope that's okay. Can I have a nod? Are we okay with that? Yeah, cool, sweet. So there's lots of things. So something I didn't mention is that I also have a relatively decent following on Instagram and have been building that over the last 4 years or so. I've got myself up to 22,000 followers, and it's been a very interesting personal journey as well, which has impacted obviously our work, and it's been great to understand how social media works from personal and business perspective. So most of what I've got here is in my Instagram brain, but it does work across most social media platforms, and I'm very happy to answer questions on the other platforms after this if you feel that I've gone too much down the Instagram route. Happy to answer anything at the end. So every about 4 to 6 months, I sit down with myself and my big whiteboard that I ordered on Amazon, and I go back to what it is that I want to be channeling on my social media, why I'm doing it, what the point is, and I use that to hone in on what kind of content I'm posting, the messaging I'm trying to get out, and the overall goal and what I want out of my accounts. So I start with that, and that very much is a way to focus my efforts. So the first question is, what do I stand for? And I think to myself, okay, I want 3 pillars of it's my personal brand, so who I am and what I do and what I'm good at and what I want the world to know. And this can be, if you're building your personal brand, it can be about you, or it can be about your business, your personal business, whatever it is. Just try and go for 3 big pillars of what it is you want the world to know about you or your brand. From that, you can understand what your goal is. So the way that we do it in our business is we have a triangle. I'm going to try and do this for you over here. Triangle. So at the top, we've got awareness. And that's what we start with if you're quite new to social media. So the goal is that you want as many people to know about you or your product as possible. That's the awareness triangle tip. Then you move into community, and that's, okay, I've cast my net far and wide and I've got people who are interested. Who are my main people? And how do I tailor my content to grow that base of people that are smaller than these people, but those are the people who are either your early adopters really, or people that really vibe with you and who you are and what you're doing. Then you move over into commercial, and that's, how do I get
Tara, you've frozen, so the commercial bit has not got to us as yet.
Ooh, okay.
Do you want to go back to the commercial bit?
Yes, am I back?
You are, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, great.
Commercial.
The commercial bit is, how do I get those people to purchase whatever it is that I'm selling? If there is something that you're selling, there might not be. If there is something that, either a product or a service, whatever it is that you're selling, how do I get these people to buy? And the reason that they're on a triangle is because it's much more effective to focus on one rather than all three at the same time, because your strategy or the messaging that you're putting out is going to be different in all of those stages. You can try and do all, and really all three will kind of happen at the same time, but you should try and focus on one to do that really well and then move into the others. Does that make sense? From there, the idea is to pick where you are and then start with some competitor analysis. So it's not necessarily competitor analysis, but it's having an idea of other people or other brands and companies that you aspire to be like. It doesn't have to be in the same industry as you. It can be far and wide, whatever profiles that you think, oh, this is cool, really like what they're saying, or really love the style of their feed, or whatever it is. Make a note of those people and those brands and think, okay, I kind of want to be like this. From there, you can analyze exactly what it is that they do and how their look and feel is, or how they get their messaging out. And that will help tailor the way that you do things a little bit better. From there, it's a case of starting to produce some really, really nice content. So I've got a whole section on this a little bit later, but it's starting to produce content that you feel that you can create well and quite easily, and that really resonates with the rest of what you've just done. So your messaging, your brand, your goal, etc. From there, getting a leg up really helps. So can you reach out to friends and family, get them to support you? Any brands or people you know who are doing similar things to you that can help you, give you a leg up, whether that's creating content together or doing shout outs or doing stuff like this, really, putting out content that's interesting in collaboration with other people. And then I've got here, how can you meet these people if they're people that you don't know currently? So when I first started my Instagram account, it's very fitness centered. That's what I was doing at the time. I was doing lots of working out and trying to put out as much information on health and wellness as possible. And what I did then was reach out to PR agencies and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'd love to be invited to your events. How do I meet other people in this industry doing stuff? And I started meeting people like that. I also reached out to a lot of people on Instagram, which felt really weird back then, trying to get in touch with strangers on the internet. But essentially, you're all here doing the same thing. We're all pretty sound. So I reckon we're pretty much safe doing this sort of stuff now. And actually, in a great twist of fate, I made some really, really good friends doing that as well. So you meet people that you vibe with, who understand what you're doing and who can help you really with your business and your brand. I'm conscious that I have another 4 minutes, I think. So I'll keep going. Then I've got community management. This is something that people forget a lot, and it's something that's really super important. So on the business side, I have a person who sits and does this all day, that engages with other people, other brands, other influencers, anyone within the space that you're trying to target. So commenting and liking other people's photos and trying to get their attention. Basically, you're trying to get their attention any way that you can. So you're watching stories, you're commenting on stories, you're commenting on posts, you're tagging people in stuff that you think, if they're going to like it, if they're going to want to see it, they can repost it, all this sort of stuff, trying to get in front of as many people as possible, because Instagram doesn't do that for you anymore. It expects you to either do it, really pay attention and do it yourself, or pay for it, which is another route you can go down, but it's a slippery slope. And from my experience, it's not one worth going down if you are your own personal brand. If you're a brand, if you're a company, then it's a little bit different. But if you're just a one-man band and you want to get your own bits out into the world, it's not worth doing. It's Instagram, Facebook will then penalize you for it, basically, if you stop. That's, yeah, which is sad, but I guess they've got to make their money too, or have they? Then I've got, make sure that your content is engaging. And I don't really mean that. I mean, play to your strengths. So whatever it is that you can do, even if it's not what other people are doing, do that. So whether you're really good at taking photos, or really good at doing graphics, or have a really good eye for color or for detail, or whatever that is, make that shine through in your content and give it some personality. Give your feed or whatever content you're producing, or your videos, some personality and some character. And that seems to really resonate with people in whatever industry you're in. Really try and make whatever you have that you can do really well shine. Then I've got testing. Social media is all about trying to figure out what people like, or what your people like. Let's call them your people. So from the awareness to all three of these, figure out what they like and ask them regularly what they like. Go in and have a look at your analytics, make sure that your profile is on business for any platform that you're on, and go and have a look at how many likes and how many comments and how many shares each of your posts or your videos get. And from there, you can understand really what people like and what people are focusing on, and try and get as much of that out there as possible. It's a constant test, and a constant having a look at what's working, or even having a look at your competitors again, or your aspirational profiles, and seeing what it is that people are responding to really well over there. Okay. Last little thing that I've got is little engagement hacks. This is just stuff that works across all of these different stages to help you really nail it on your engagement. So Instagram and Facebook, and actually TikTok, I think, like when you use their latest features. So when something comes out, I don't know if you guys get also, there's like a little bubble that appears when Instagram launched something new, and you get a little story bubble that says, look at this new feature. Have you ever seen that before? No? Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. I get that all the time. You go, look, we've just launched IGTV. It's in a separate app. Anyway, eventually you kind of get to see them, right? So there's lots of different things that pop up and you're like, what on earth is this? This is new. Use it. Try and use it. Instagram love that. Facebook love that too. TikTok is another story that we can talk about probably another day. I don't know if does anyone use TikTok? Do we know of TikTok? Nope. That's a story for another day. But yeah. Next, reply to all of your comments all the time. The sooner the better. Anyone that's engaging with you, engage with them back. It's just I mean, you know, you feel that too, right? It's really nice when somebody comes back to you and says, thank you so much for commenting on my thing. It goes such a long way, especially when you're trying to build your community down here. That's where it's at. Ask some questions back, fire them back with a response that's a bit more personal, that sort of thing. Promote whatever channel it is you're trying to promote across other channels. So if you have a YouTube page, promote it on your Instagram and vice versa. And whatever it is that you're trying to grow, make sure that you use all of the rest of your social channels, even if they're personal social channels. Or your LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a really good one. Post what you're doing on your socials to LinkedIn and just say, hey guys, I know we've met in wherever it is, but I'm doing this, that, and the other. It would be really great if you could show me some support. That's a good one. Pull in friends and fam. We've already done that. Then the next important thing I've got here is to ask your audience stuff. There's lots of fancy buttons, mostly on Instagram, that you can put out polls, you can put out question stickers, you can do all of these sort of things and see the sort of responses that you get from your audience. Ask them, what content do you like to see most on my profile? Ask them whether they see your stuff, what you can do to make it better, all the rest of it. So I'm conscious that I've talked for 15 minutes now, I think. I guess I'll throw it back to you for questions on any of that. I hope that was informative. I hope that was interesting.
Tara, that's great. Thank you. I'm just wondering how you're going to get that down into 5 key points when I come back and ask you, because I reckon there was a dozen or so there. But that's really good. Thank you. Any questions of Tara? And you're right, it was primarily focused on Instagram, but I think your last point about sharing across channels is an important one. Any questions from anybody?
Yeah, I got a question.
Constantine.
How much time you reckon you should be spending on it a day? It does sound like a little bit of work, which I know it is, but
It's definitely a little bit of work. And this one's an interesting one because it, obviously our screen time eats into our mental health a lot, right? So it's about finding the balance that works for you. And I reckon, I have an alarm on my phone that tells me when I've used Instagram for more than an hour. So as I hit an hour, my alarm goes off on my phone and it says stop. I reckon between half an hour and an hour. If you can spend 10 minutes putting together some content that you can then share, and then 10 minutes after that, engaging and commenting and doing all of your liking and community management, actually 20 minutes is probably where you can stop, if that feels manageable.
Can I ask you a question, Tara?
Yeah, Andy,
yeah. You said something earlier on about if you pay Instagram or Facebook and then stop doing it, they'll punish you. I had a crowdfunding campaign last August, and I paid Facebook a certain amount of money for promotions over the period that was running, and I never could tell how much it was worth to me to do that. But how do you mean they'll punish you if you stop doing it?
They essentially will cut your engagement. No one actually knows this for sure, because the algorithm and what Instagram and Facebook do is not public knowledge, but it's interesting reading accounts of people who have done this sort of thing. So what I mean is that they will slash your engagement a little bit afterwards because they want you to continue paying. So they will show your content to less people than they did originally, but it's harder to track, obviously, because you've now got more followers or more people in your sphere. So it's slightly harder to track, but mostly you will notice your engagement going down. So what I've said to people, to clients who want to be paying Facebook or Instagram to promote their content, I'll say, okay, well, what's your monthly budget? And if they give me, this is a very random number, if they give me $1,000 a month, I'll say, okay, well, let's start at 400 a month. And then every month keep adding a teeny tiny bit and save that money, essentially, so that Instagram or Facebook thinks, ooh, look, they're increasing their amount that they're giving us. And obviously it's all algorithms. So, but we've seen it work. You can cheat a little bit.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
thanks, Sandy, for that. Any other questions?
Tara, I had a question on TikTok. Funny you say that, the platform that we haven't tried at all. And from what I read on TikTok, it seems to have very mixed reviews. Would you talk a little bit more about it? Tell us a wee bit more. Sure.
So TikTok, essentially what it is people sharing videos, and the way it's built is that it's very musical. So the company that bought it is a company that's very much musically dominated. So you create a video, and from that video you can take the sound of it and then create another video immediately off the back of that. And so that works really well. And challenges. So you see these challenges go viral of people doing stuff. So what they do is they take the sound and they do the challenge. And that's the way it works. It's much easier to just create videos off the back of videos than it is on any other platform. I hope that makes sense. It's
and, I suppose not. I haven't used it. I don't know if anybody here has ever used TikTok, but from the community that we have, is that a channel that you would recommend?
It's a really difficult one because I'll go with the pros and cons of TikTok, and then you guys can decide for yourselves. I guess this is probably the best way to do it. So pros of TikTok is the algorithm is nowhere near as sophisticated as the one that Facebook and Instagram now use, because it's a new platform. So you can make a video and it can go viral. And it still does that. My business partner, Sarah, just put something out the other day that's got 40,000 views. She's only got like a couple of hundred followers. And it happens randomly. There's no rhyme or reason. They'll just take it and they'll show it to God knows how many people, which is great. But also in the negative, you don't know who these people are. You have no way of targeting certain people. So it's just gone out into the wild, right? The next good thing about TikTok is that what works really well is unpolished content. So it doesn't have to be the most beautiful video ever. It just has to have some personality, basically. And you can make videos in 2 seconds that will go viral, and they're usually the best ones. But what I haven't seen at the moment is any product-based content that performs really well. There's a way to advertise on TikTok now, but it's only just been rolled out, and there's some really interesting case studies of people pushing products on TikTok, but you have to do it in a certain way it's very like talking to camera. It's very like, hey friend, I'm using this really cool thing, like you should try it too. It's a completely different way of creating content, which could be good, could be bad. It depends on who you are and how comfortable you are with making videos that are a bit more, I guess, showing a little bit more vulnerability, because yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. I'm still working it out for myself as well. Did that answer your question, I guess, Fafna?
I think TikTok is something which we'll have to, like you said, have a completely different session if you want to, if anybody wants to think about it. But yeah, a little bit more to go and explore, because I've always thought that TikTok isn't the right platform for us. But no, thank you very much. That was very interesting. I will go and have a check. And you have the same kind of followers on TikTok as you have on Instagram and Facebook. It's the same sort of thing.
What do you mean?
I mean, you have to get followers on TikTok like you get on. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. It's the same.
Thanks, Tara and Bhavna. I'm conscious that we've just got 5 minutes left. One last question before we go back to Tara?
I have a question, actually.
Yes, Susanna, yeah.
With content, does it need to be different for Facebook and Instagram, or can you post the same thing on both platforms, or should it be at different times, or does it need to be completely different from each platform?
It depends on who your audience are. If you have exactly the same audience on Facebook as you do on Instagram, and you find that exactly the same things work for both platforms, then yes. But I think that probably what most people will find is that they've got different audiences on Facebook and on Instagram, because the people who hang out on Instagram are different to those who engage with things on Facebook. So it's worth doing the same sort of strategy stuff, thinking for both, and having a look at what content works really well on your Facebook and what content works really well on your Instagram. And if they're the same, then post the same things. But I think 9 times out of 10, you'll find that they won't be. And so you'll have to slightly spin things, but you can then take the same piece of content and write different stuff about it for Facebook and Instagram, depending on who those people are. So there's ways of doing it that isn't such a massive overhead. But it's worth having a look. You might find that they are the same people and they like the same stuff, in which case, you're laughing. Great. But yeah. Does that make sense? Does that answer
great. Thank you.
Thanks, Susanna, for the question. Thanks, Tara. So we better move towards close. So Tara, if I could ask you how you're going to get down to those 5 key points. I don't know, but if you could give us those 5 key points, that would be great.
Okay, I'll try. I think the first really key point is to keep going back to what your goal is and what you stand for. So always keep thinking, okay, is this post in line with what I want to achieve? 1. 2, keep asking your friends and family and people that you know and people that you meet for support, and continue networking and continue to bring people into your sphere, not only digitally, but in person. So promote your accounts verbally as well, and don't forget that that's a massive part of trying to build some engagement, because you'll find that people who actually meet you and start talking to you and can really like feel your passion will probably be the people that end up in community. Where are we on? We're on 3.
That was 2. You've got number 3 next.
Yep, got number 3 next. Cross promote, I think, is a really, really important one. I guess that's kind of a follow on from number 2, but also cross promote into your other socials or WhatsApp groups that you might be part of, or anything like that. Cross promote, make sure that you continue to talk about platforms on different platforms. Point 3.
4.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I think I need another coffee now. Point 4 is to continue to evaluate what you're putting out. So make sure that your account is a business account on whatever platform it is, and continue to have a look at your analytics. Which post this week did the best? Maybe write it down and say, okay, how does that relate to the top performing post last week or the week before? Always continue to have a look at what your audience are responding to the best. And point 5 is ask your audience stuff all the time and engage with them as much as you can. So if you're spending 10 minutes, 20 minutes on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is a day, make sure that you're using some of that time or most of that time to engage with your audience and build some rapport with them.
Tara, that's great. Thank you very much on behalf of everybody, and thank you everybody for calling in again. And we will be reposting around this chat and the 5 key points that Tara's just mentioned and talked through. So thank you again. We'll be in touch as well for our next virtual coffee and what the topic will be. So look out for that on Facebook and other channels. Thanks very much. Bye for now. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.